So first is the lighting and systems and such. The first thing here was just putting lights onto these street lights. So I'll just show you what it looks like real quick. You can see my characters walking around, and it's kind of hard to tell through the screen recording, but the lights are reflecting off the character. So let's get into how I did this. So basically, what you do, you just add lights by clicking on the right-clicking on the hierarchy window, then clicking the light. Then you can add what type of light you did. I just chose point light for this because it kind of highlights the area opposed to spotlights, which just focuses the lights on one spot. And you can also just change the intensity or the range of the light. But I think 10 and 4 are good for street lights. So yeah. Now getting into kind of a garbage truck scene, we were just told to add working headlights onto the truck. And by doing this, you click on the garbage truck game object, and then you right click on it again, then you add the light. And for mainly car headlights, you want to use spotlights because it kind of has that flashlight reflection, which makes it look more realistic. I do spotlights for this, and you can change the range on how big or how little you want the lights to expand. And yeah, I also used real time because it is more realistic and the computer can handle that. So you can see the trucks driving around and the lights are attached to it because they're added to the game object. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the truck. Now going into the lighting scene for the city block. We were told to do like a couple things: show dusk environment, highlight the billboard, make it look like the cars are on and the pizza store is open. And then also highlight the alleyway too. And then it was optional, but I gave my player a flashlight. So for the dusk environment, I used a directional light, which the light kind of sets the scene for the whole, game environment. And I put a red on it and set the intensity to pretty low. So it wasn't overpowering the game, but it still gave that dusk environment. So going to this spotlight, it just used to highlight the alleyway and show the player that there's more to the map. For the pizza shop, I just used spot point light because it kind of highlights that section of the map, given the idea that the pizza shop is open. I put different intensities on the light just because I thought it looked slightly better. There's really no meaning behind it. Billboards, I also use point lights because it highlights the main system or the game object and everything around it, and I thought it looked really good. Yeah, and then the same kind of light settings for point light in the pizza shop. Now moving on to the car, you can see the headlights are added to the game object, not just dragged on, and it gives it that kind of street light realistic view. And now you can see the flashlight. I also used a spotlight for it. I thought this looks pretty cool on the character too. You can see it's kind of hard to navigate, but you can see how the light is kind of reflecting off the player and giving some type of shadow look. But yeah, not too complicated. So now we're going to be moving into our particle systems. This is a more complex element of the game where you could make game objects look like they're moving or running and stuff like that. Just another attention to detail. So with particle systems come a lot of settings and stuff, and you see these are the main ones you should select when making dust particles for like a truck or a bike and stuff like that. Color over lifetime, that just shows as the particles move farther away, they become more transparent. Billboard, make sure you're on billboard to give the particles a rounder shape. and then make it material dust too. So yeah, I'll show you what that looks like. The truck just drives, and you can see how the particle systems are responding with the truck. Also, make sure when you do this, you right click on the truck game object, and then you go to element and then particle system, and then add a particle system for the left side and the right side of the truck. And yeah, it's really cool. You see how the particles are moving and acting with the truck. Now going into our park scene, we're told to kind of illuminate and highlight a chest. So yeah, get into that right now. We used both lights and particles for this. So first, the directional light is just the main light, but if we go into the pirate chest, we could see the point light is connected to it, and it has a yellow kind of coloring to it, making the chest look legendary. And then yellow sparkles too, to just highlight something of value might be in the chest in the game. Yet again, also we changed the shape to hemisphere because that kind of creates this dome where the sparkles kind of flow out and emit. Emission rate is just how fast you want them to come out, and transparent. Remember, we're setting that alpha scale to 0 so that the particles kind of turn invisible later on, and then the particles are at a billboard mode. So yeah, you can see the chest is kind of sparkling. You can see the light illuminating it, and the sparkles kind of floating off too. So now we are in our city block scene. This we were told to make a bunch of game collectibles. The diamonds were given, so I just put them out there. And then this kind of capsule shape I made myself by just right clicking on the hierarchy window. Right clicking on the hierarchy window, adding a 3D shape. And then I attached the collectible script and the rotate hover script that was given to us by CodeHS. So the particle system is kind of like all the other ones. Just the rate is a little faster, and then make sure you have the billboard renderer on. And then the alpha set to 0 on the scale. And then I also just made the color to kind of match the color of the particles to match with the color of the capsule. Same process for the diamonds. You right click on it and add elements, then particle systems, and then you add a point light too, which just highlights it a little. You can see that the intensity is pretty low on the gems and capsule, but still makes a good effect and impact on the game. So you can see how the player can successfully look at the particles, the particles in the game objects and collect them, which I think looks pretty cool. And yeah.